At the end of every year, I release a drone buying guide, basically the drones that I recommend at various price points, and I'm going to do that in this video, but I'm also going to take the time to give you a pros and cons list of buying a drone. Are they worth owning? But before I do that, I want to tell you this video is brought to you by Squarespace, of which I have no cons. Squarespace is a fantastic all-in-one platform and website builder that's so easy, and I can save you 10%. Start at squarespace.com/photorectv. Let's start with the pros of owning a drone, the good stuff. Drones can offer fantastic new perspectives. Being able to put a high-quality camera up into the air in virtually any position you want opens up a huge array of perspectives. Photographing from these different angles and elevations that we usually don't see instantly makes for more interesting and impactful photos and videos. And having this kind of freedom and flexibility is fun. I mean, it's just that simple. That's enough of a reason for some to buy a drone. They can be a lot of fun to fly, especially these FPV ones where you're in this first-person world viewing through the goggles. You feel a little like a fighter jet pilot. Apologies to real fighter jet pilots. But even the ones where you're flying and looking at the screen, they're fun to maneuver, and the resultant footage you capture is also fun. And that can really elevate your storytelling. Storytelling. If you were creating to tell stories, maybe document a construction project, a vacation, or some other adventure, a drone is a fantastic tool. You can use it to set establishing shots that really give your audience that high-level overview. That's literal and figuratively there. And drones are excellent at providing footage that allows you to transition from one place to another and generally just elevating your content and providing some potential income. Potential income. If you get your drone license, you can legally make money with your drone. Everything from real estate, stock photography, even building inspections. And depending on where you live in the world, this could be a very legitimate career. But I do want to make sure we have a quick reality check. This isn't going to happen overnight. So unless you have your license and jobs all lined up, you're not going to immediately recoup the cost of a drone and other business expenses. But long term, this is a viable career that you could make some income. Speaking of income, I can save you 10% off the cost of your first Squarespace purchase, our sponsor today. You can start at squarespace.com/photorectv. You start with one of their many gorgeous templates. You could easily customize it, and seriously, in just a few moments, you'll be uploading your drone photos or video. That's right, you can upload videos direct to Squarespace for this super clean, professional look. I run photorec.tv on Squarespace. I love just how easy it is to add content and set up a store. As a small business owner, really don't have time to learn all the back end of payment systems and making sure everything is secure. Squarespace makes that setup and integration just so simple with just a couple of clicks. They also offer booking tools, dropship integration, and so much more. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform for building your brand and growing your business online. You can try them out for free, 14 days, no credit card required. Again, start at squarespace.com/photorectv. All right, but let's be real for a moment. There are some drawbacks to spending money on a drone, and we're gonna barrel right on into reason number one. Crashing. It can feel like you're buying an expensive piece of equipment that you're very likely going to crash and ruin. And yeah, it is likely that you're gonna crash. It's happened to me a few times. The good news, the drone I'm recommending to most of you watching this video does have obstacle avoidance, which lowers the risk of crashing. And if you start slow and give yourself time to learn and get used to the controls, your chance of crashing decreases dramatically. Now, as I said, I've crashed a few times. Only once did it end the life of the drone, saltwater. All the other crashes, totally fine. One other repair that needed to happen, the drone actually flew fine, just the tracking abilities were damaged. DJI repaired that. And as I said, all of the other crashes required at most just new propellers. They're kind of built to crash. Now, I do have business insurance that covered the drone ruined by saltwater. You also have the option of DJI Care Refresh program. It's a yearly charge starting at about $80 for the cheaper drones. It offers replacement drones for a small fee and also discounts on repairs. It is a very nice peace of mind, and I often recommend it for beginners. Now, I'd like to keep this video from crashing, so if you could take a moment to hit that thumbs up button, I'd be very appreciative. Less dad jokes. Let's continue on. Another drawback or common misconception to drones are that they are, nah, no worries. Hi. Oh, he is cute. Hi, buddy. Hi. Hi, Jackson. Hi, buddy. How are you? Nice to meet you. Another drawback or common misconception to owning a drone is that they're hard to fly. They're actually not. There is a challenge. We'll get to that in a second, but I want to show you just how easy it is to fly. Push button easy. I've got this little drone sitting next to me. It's all powered on, ready to go. I literally can just push this button, hold down for a second, and the little drone's going to take off, raise to this level, and now it's going to sit here and wait for further instructions. I want it to go up. I push up on the stick. I let go of the sticks. It's going to stay right there. GPS, magic. It's very nice. I fly it around for a bit. I'm ready for it to land exactly where it took off from. There's a button for that. I push it, hold down on the land, and it's going to come back and land from where it took off. Again, quite easy and straightforward, and as I recommended in an earlier part of the video, take some time to practice and you're going to do just fine. But what really is going to take some time to practice is creating that cinematic footage. That is very different from just flying around a drone, especially if you want to create that with the FPV style drones. And that brings up another drawback. Can you even fly in your area? So are drones banned everywhere? Well, I'm going to address the US because that's where most of my audience is and where most of my experience comes from. And while there are certainly areas you cannot fly within the US, there are plenty of areas that you can. For instance, I live 3 miles from an international airport and I can actually fly up to 200 feet and can apply for permission to go higher. When I'm practicing though, that's just fine. Generally, you're allowed to fly in national forests, but not in any national parks or wilderness areas, and most state parks don't allow drones, but that is set state by state. Before you invest in a drone, you should take a few moments to look at the FAA's Before You Fly website or app. I've linked that down below, and so you can see exactly where drone flying is allowed in your area, but that doesn't address another drawback in the fact that drones are annoying. Drones are annoying. You should consider your neighbors and decide, is this going to be a thing? I've been yelled at flying in perfectly legal places and situations. Now, you can take this as an opportunity to educate, as I did in my neighborhood when someone shared on a community forum that a drone was flying over the neighborhood. It was probably me practicing. So I took a moment to introduce myself on that forum, posted a few photos that I've captured with the drone on my travels, and now my picture of the neighborhood from a drone is the banner on the community forum. I think that's kind of neat. Now, people assume that when you're flying a drone, you are staring into their house. You need to make sure that you are not creepy and doing anything that might reinforce that idea. But another drawback, don't you need a license? But don't you need a license to fly? Actually, no. You only need to get a license if you plan to make money with your drone. And that does include using drone footage in monetized YouTube videos. Otherwise, you don't need a license to fly here in the US. Now, the other part of that confusion is if you do buy a drone over 250 grams, you need to register it with the FAA. It's a pretty simple process and it costs just $5, but it is something you need to do, and it is also why the drone I'm going to recommend to most of you watching this video is so popular. It comes in under 250 grams, the Mini 3 Pro, and you don't need to register it. You can just fly and buy. Another drawback, though, is more gear to pack. Sure, these drones are impressively small and lightweight, but then you start to add up remote, extra batteries, charging bits, goggles if you're doing the FPV, and it all starts to add up in both size and weight. And if you're really watching your camera bag's weight, you might skip buying a drone. Though these days with USB charging, you can go pretty simple and keep the kit small for your travels, but you still might find having a drone in your bag is a bit of a distraction. Drones can be. See, I call myself a photographer and I really enjoy making beautiful photos, but there are times where I find myself in places where I'm photographing with a regular camera, and I think the drone could produce some great photos or videos at this location. So then I'm torn. Do I make the call to fly and potentially miss out on amazing ground-based photos, but make better or cooler drone photos? So it gets tricky at times. And if you call yourself a photographer, you're really working to improve your craft. There is nothing wrong with not adding a drone to your bag and really just focusing on your ground-based photography. Those are my drawbacks. Let me know in the comments if you have any other pros or cons that you think should be added to this list. And I do recognize that in some other countries, drone rules can be pretty restrictive. Now let's talk about the buying guide. The most up-to-date buying guide can be found at photorec.tv/drones. But as of this recording, if you want one for documenting travel and adventures, the Mini 3 Pro is impressive. High quality video, easy to fly with both obstacle avoidance and tracking features, great flight times, even longer with the Pro battery, and it's still in a very portable, very travel-friendly package. If you need to fly in less ideal conditions, maybe a bit windier, or you want better still photos, the new Mavic 3 Classic is great with that much larger sensor. Micro Four Thirds, just kind of mind-blowing that it's flying around in this little drone. It provides incredible quality photos and slightly better video, and it gives you an adjustable aperture, really long flight times. It is larger and heavier than the Mini 3 Pro. I mean, when you put them side by side, you really notice it, but it still is pretty travel-friendly. Finally, if you want to have some fun and hone your FPV skills, the DJI Avata is my recommendation. It's not as well suited for photos, but it is very fun to fly and capable of creating those dynamic videos. Though, as I said earlier, the FPV drones are going to take the most amount of practice to really create the best footage. Now, if you're watching this later than 2023, as I said, visit photorec.tv/drones to find my updated list along with all of my favorite drone accessories. And if you found this video helpful, you can hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing along with pressing that little bell so you'll be notified of future videos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.